So I'm here with Joe Shields, who I made the acquaintance of as he became a volunteer here at Bellefontaine Cemetery and Arboretum, a true history enthusiast, somebody who knew the neighborhood very well. He had family who is associated with the neighborhood for multiple generations, and Joe has now worked himself into a full-time role at Bellefontaine Cemetery.
And that is a perfect segue for me to introduce Dan Fuller, the Bellefontaine Cemetery and Arboretum Cemetery Chronicler. Passion best describes Dan's philosophy and outlook for the cemetery. So, as our cemetery chronicler and historian, or archivist, Dan is going to help tell the stories of the cemetery. Dan is going to help unearth our history after 175 years.
Bellefontaine Cemetery and Arboretum is the first garden cemetery west of the Mississippi, and this concept began at Père Lachaise in Paris, France in 1804, and is really a departure from the then graveyard system to the now cemetery system. And so the feel and texture of the cemetery is very different than most cemeteries that do not fit that garden variety.
We invite you to partner with us and take this historical journey with us. Dan and I, throughout this podcast, we're going to uncover or dig up, pun intended, very historically significant historical stories that are relevant in the 19th century, relevant in the 20th century, especially relevant in the 21st century. We're going to talk about St. Louis being the crossroads of this history and how history matters here, how history matters in other metropolitan cities. You know, there's our sister cemeteries in the Bronx, which is Woodlawn, our sister cemetery in Brooklyn, which is Greenwood, our sister cemetery in Boston, which is Mount Auburn. These metropolitan centers, these great historically significant cities of the 19th century, they have similar stories. They have similar crossroads in their own cemeteries. You know, they have beginnings that are very similar to ours. And Dan and I, throughout this podcast, we're going to tie all that together. We're going to tell some great stories. We're going to have a lot of fun. And I guarantee you, you will be amazed at what we find.
And we have to remember that we are going to jump the pond at some point in time, because this all starts at Père Lachaise in Paris, France in 1804. That really sets the tone for what we will become in 1849. And when you look at the measure of time, 1804 to 1849 is a short little hop, but it is a seismic thing that's felt all around the globe. And so our podcast should be something that we can reach out to a lot of different peoples and find that commonality, and as Joe keeps talking about, the crossroads here in St. Louis, the gateway to the West. Can't reiterate enough that a lot of things, a lot of people from all over the globe pass through here. So maybe they are laid to rest in Bellefontaine, but they came from Russia, France, England, Germany, Japan. We have feng shui burials, so we're going to step into some shoes in China. So there's nothing that's off the table.
You know, Dan, that's correct. If I take a look at the globe, I'm going to talk about the tip of Argentina to the city of Tokyo, and then I'm going to keep going to the Middle East, and I'm going to land in Egypt. Then I'm going to keep going across Europe, where this movement for the rural cemeteries was started in Paris in 1804, and it just ignited and made its way across Europe. Then I'm going to get to the United States and Boston in 1831 and just keep going west. And it just repeats itself. So the places that I mentioned, we have stories from every corner of the globe, and they're incredible.
So as a tour guide, I love the feedback. It's imperative to me to have the feedback. And that's always going to be that challenge to me to up the ante just a little bit. So you give us that feedback, I can guarantee you we're going to deliver, and we're going to keep delivering, and we're going to deliver higher and push the boundaries. So I do invite you to come back and see if we're true to our word on that. And don't forget to give us that feedback.
Quality growth, quality programming can only happen through constructive feedback. And we encourage that. Dan and I both work with an incredibly dedicated team, and we give constructive feedback to ourselves. So we encourage comments. We encourage emails. Please reach out to us and let us know if you have anything to add to our stories, because as Dan will tell you, these stories never quit growing.
Definitely. So it's really important that you tune back in, because you never know what we're going to uncover at the cemetery. I'm Dan, and my co-host here is Joe at Bellefontaine Cemetery and Arboretum. We can't have these conversations without zeroing in on some ways to make things just a little bit lighthearted. So, you know, I'm notorious for saying, oh, we're in the dead center of the cemetery, or let's dig a little bit deeper. I always have to clarify with our horticulture volunteers when they come in that we're only going to have them dig in certain places. It's just one of those things. But at the end of the day, I think we're all digging it.
So we hope you dig it.